Mr. Bellefeuille. Mr. Caputo, you have 5 minutes, please.
Being here, Ms. O'Gorman, I'm going to ask you these questions. 1,000 border officers were promised by the Liberal government. 0 have been hired to this point, correct?
Incorrect.
How many have been hired?
So we have 57 people hired. By the end of the fiscal year, I would estimate we should have over 100. We're aiming for more than that. We're going to be recruiting our uniformed officers over 3 years. I think if we did it any faster than that, we would risk not meeting our standards that we have maintained of excellent, experienced people coming in and getting the training they need.
I understand that. Of those 57 that have been hired, were those planned hires or are those part of the 1,000 new officers?
So the 1,000 new officers, and you'll see in the budget, includes approximately 75 from the border plan and an additional 925 from the money in the budget, and it's both. So before the budget, I'll just, je vais compléter mon phrase. So
allow me to finish my sentence.
Have people who have started at Rigaud before we got the actual budget
Gorman, I'm
funding.
sorry, I have to ask you, I've asked very concise questions. Please answer concisely. Of the 57 who were hired, how many of them were part of the 1,000 promised by the government? Please, just a number.
We have, well, I'll refer you to the budget.
Well,
the budget
with
outlined,
all due respect,
Sorry, Mr. Caputo, I understand, and we'll stop the clock. That is going smoothly, but there's a point at which it's impossible for people to either interpret or listen to the interpretation. So please, let's make sure we don't overlap the conversations.
So, Ms. O'Gorman, I'm going to be very clear here. If you don't know the answer, please just say it. You said, I asked whether 1,000 new officers, 0 had been hired. You said incorrect, 57 were hired. The implication of that is that that was part of the 1,000 promised by the government. Okay? So I'm going to be very clear. Of the 57 hired, how many of them were part of the 1,000 extra officers that were promised by the government? Just a number, please.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to seek to answer the question, ideally without interruption. The budget included the funding for the officers. Based on that funding that's in the budget, 57 people have been hired.
So is that
based on that funding as it's outlined in the budget?
But that's not. I'm asking a very simple question, and I'm getting a bit of a runaround here. So I'm just going to move on here. This study was about 600 foreign nationals for whom we didn't know where they were. That's the title of the study. But the actual number we now know is we thought it was 600. It's actually 33,130. Is that correct?
So, as I've testified before, and as is posted on our website, there are approximately 33,000 people who are on a removal order who have absconded.
Without warrant, or sorry, with warrant. 33,000 people where you don't know where they are. Now, the minister actually said we have addresses for those people, or we used to have addresses for those people. Absconded is the word you just used. That would suggest we don't know where they are, do we?
So I'm going to go back to the other question because there's a risk
here, please.
of conflating. You mentioned six.
With all due respect, ma'am, I'm asking questions here, and I will not permit you to talk out the clock when I'm asking very direct questions. Okay? I think we have an answer to that, so let's just move on. You said that there was screening by a border services officer. This is in order to ensure that terrorists and criminals do not come into Canada. But in fact, it was revealed in committee here that up to 50% of officers at airports are actually students. Do you acknowledge that there are frontline students who are independently evaluating with 3 weeks of experience, or pardon me, 3 weeks of training, 1 week of which is for use of force, whether they are doing the same work as an officer evaluating people coming into the country?
Our students are doing work at the airports. They are not doing the same work in terms of the evaluation and the risk assessment and decisions under IRPA.
Okay, no, I want to stop you there, please. So is what you're saying that when somebody arrives at the airport, the person who is interviewing them is not a student?
Are you talking about a traveler or somebody seeking asylum?
Both.
So
The first point of contact, is there a student there?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the question is obviously important, but we'll have to wait for the answer because time is up. We'll now move to